Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Moving Markets Podcast. It is Tuesday, June the 3rd, 2025. And as you are well aware, if you're a regular listener to this podcast, we did not do it this morning live, 30 minutes after the market opened. And that's my fault. I forgot about an appointment that I had. I ended up heading out the door. I forgot about an appointment I had. I ended up heading out the door, barely making it to the appointment I had. And by the time I got back, I thought, well, I could hurry and do a podcast now. But then I was watching what was happening with the market, and I thought, I'm going to do it around the close of the market and kind of have that wait and see mode of what happens the rest of the day. So that's why I'm doing it. And at the time I'm recording this right now, there is about 8 minutes left for the markets to trade. So I timed it that way intentionally once I missed the time to do it live this morning. So my apologies. We will be back on live tomorrow morning, and we will start, right at the 30-minute mark after the market has opened. So let's look really quickly with 7-8 minutes left today to trade. Dow Jones Industrial Average up right now, a little shy of 200 points. S&P up just over 30. And the NASDAQ up almost 140. Now, all of them have been a little bit higher than that. In fact, they've all been a little bit higher than that literally over the last 20, 30 minutes. As I've been watching, I've seen just a gradual little slide, nothing real horrific. You can see that earlier today, the NASDAQ was up quite a bit more. If you're looking at this chart, for those that are maybe just listening to audio of this, I think at its highest point of the day, I think the NASDAQ got up around 19,459, almost 19,500. And right now it is at, as we speak, it's at 19,392. Of course, this has a little bit of a delay, so it may be a tiny bit higher than that. So a good day, no question. It's a good day. Almost a little over 0.75% for the NASDAQ, and that's the second day in a row that it's almost hit that. The Dow up 0.5%, and the S&P up a little better than 0.5%. So all in all, a very good day. Now, I'm going to be brutally honest and a little bit negative right now. I'm surprised that things have been up today, and I think we're going to have a little bit of profit taking / come back to reality tomorrow. Today the markets are up largely on a way better than expected job report. If you remember yesterday's podcast, I said that the report would have to be quite a bit better than what was expected or quite a bit worse than what was expected to really see an effect on the market. Well, lo and behold, the consensus was for 110,000. It was beat by 70,000 new private payroll jobs. That's big. That's the biggest increase in a while, and it's the best number we've had in the last several months. So it was a big. I don't want to call it a miss. It missed the expectation, but in the right direction, and it was big. And that's a large part of why things are up. The thing that concerns me is what you see right here as this headline at the top, the top of CNBC's list. Elon Musk officially left his job status in government service in the last couple of days. And he's on social media today talking about how awful this bill is that the Senate has in front of it right now. And we've talked multiple times on this podcast about the big, beautiful bill, Trump's big, beautiful bill that he wants to get passed through the Senate and the House of Representatives. And I'll be honest with you, the more I listen about what's in the bill, what's not in the bill, I truthfully, the more I listen, the more concerns I have. I'm very split on this. On the one hand, the GOP has to find a way to get the 2017 Trump tax cuts made permanent. That's got to happen. If that happens in a solo bill by itself, nothing else attached to it, that alone will be a huge boost for the economy. It will be a huge boost for people at all income levels. Don't listen to this BS nonsense that Democrats are putting out about tax cuts only for the rich. It simply is a false narrative. It's an outright lie, and they know it's a lie, which pisses me off even more than just the fact that they're lying, is that they're lying knowingly. When a person lies out of a lack of education or stupidity, maybe you don't call it a lie. Maybe you say they're just misinformed or they don't understand. No, they're just straight up, flat out lying to people and trying to create fear about these tax cuts. It was proven, there is ample evidence to prove it unequivocally, that the tax cuts that Trump got through the House and the Senate back in 2017 lifted all income levels. When you put more money in the people who create jobs and know how to create wealth, it impacts everybody. It's Reagan-esque trickle-down economics. You cut taxes for those at the top, and this tax cut is for everyone, but you cut taxes for those at the top. They spend more, they produce more, they hire more. It's like the government brings in more revenue, and everyone is lifted by that. And so this notion that anything other than that would happen is complete and total BS. Please, I don't care what your politics are. If you hate Donald Trump, if you hate everything about him, still use some common sense. Don't get sucked into this nonsense that these tax cuts that have been in place since 2017 are not going to continue to help people if they remain in place, because that's what's really happening. If you let them expire instead of making them permanent, it's going to hurt the economy. It's going to hurt people at all income levels. So they've got to get that through. But when I look at other parts of this bill, spending is out of control, and it is not just a Democrat thing. It would be, I'm conservative in my politics. It would be easy for me to say, oh, the Democrats just want to spend. The Republicans are the only ones that want to cut. No, it's both parties have an addiction to what they see as free money. It's our money, and it's infuriating to me that Elon Musk goes in and identifies all these things that need to be cut, all these things that need to be chopped out of our budget, and you've got Republicans pushing back on a large portion of it. And that infuriates me as a Republican, as a conservative. It makes me mad as hell that there are conservative members of the House and the Senate that are not upset about there not being more cuts and are willing to push back on these cuts that most of America wants to see. So I think some of this is going to come back around and bite this market in a big way. You cannot maintain and keep the kind of spending that has been going on and expect all of it to be fixed just with growth. You can fix a lot of it with growth, but if you don't get the spending under control, the growth is not going to get you all the way there. It's got to be a combination of the two. And I'm just, you can tell I'm pretty passionate. I am ripped that there are not more Republicans that specifically the people in Congress, the people in the House of Representatives and the Senate that are not really, really upset about this. And it tells me that all politicians, this is not a Democrat Republican thing. This is not a conservative liberal thing. This is not a party versus party thing. Washington, D.C. is corrupt as hell, and people there that are there as our elected officials are bought and paid for at an alarming rate all the time. And it happens on both sides. And to me, that is the only explanation of why you don't have every single sitting member of Congress on the Republican side wanting to slash this budget in massive, massive ways and give the money back to the people, is because they are bought and paid for by some special interest group that has a hand around their throat, ready to cut things off if they don't, comply and capitulate to what they want. Our system has got to change. The money has got to get out of politics. And what I mean by that is the money that ends up in the pocketbooks, the retirement accounts, the offshore accounts, the family members' accounts of these elected officials. Okay, that's a big soapbox that I was on. I did not mean to get off on that rant. I wanted to talk more about the market, but this is why I'm a little bit, I love the fact that things were up yesterday. I love the fact that things were up today. None of that is upsetting to me. I am a little bit concerned about where it goes. You can see that the S&P, the markets are closed now. Let's really quickly. Stock market officially closed. You probably heard the bell in the background there. This is, I believe these are pretty accurate. They might still change a little bit because they continue to fluctuate for a few minutes after the market is closed. But it looks like the Dow finished up 214, the NASDAQ 156, and the S&P up almost 35 points. Good, solid gains on the day. Nothing to be upset about that. But I do worry. You look at the S&P, it came right up to this nearest term level of resistance, couldn't quite push over it. I think you'll have to hear some good news in the next couple of days. You're going to have to hear some really good news about specifically about progress being made on a bill that can make it back to the House of Representatives. Because right now the Senate is going to try and tweak it and change it and add amendments and screw around with it. And then you got to get, that reconciliation process where at least 50 senators get on board with signing it. Then it's going to go back to the House to see if they will, then approve of the changes that the Senate made. So you're going to have to hear some positive headway being made on that in the next couple of days to not see this market give back a little bit. I think we could fall in the next couple of days, back down to what is now, I think, a good solid level of support around 58.50 on the S&P. But I'm a little bit nervous about the move up today and what it might mean for tomorrow. Now, on a much, much more positive note, because I told you I was going to be a little bit negative, we are seeing CrowdStrike move into positive territory, CoreWeave move into positive territory. AMD had a nice day after starting a little bit shaky. Nvidia had a phenomenal day, and we are looking wonderful on Nvidia. And Palantir was kind of weird today. Back and forth a lot in the early part of the day. It looks like they finished positive to the tune of about $1.25 to the upside. That means there had to have been a little bit of a surge late in the day. Because the last time I looked at Palantir specifically, they were, it looks like they peaked about a half an hour ago. But the last time I looked specifically at Palantir was probably when they were in this little trough right here around 2 o'clock Eastern time, noon my time. It looks like they had a good solid rally from there and then gave up a little bit in that last maybe 30 minutes of trading. But still a solid gain for Palantir. This says up $1.08. So that means one of these two, maybe stock charts, now this just changed to $1. This says $1.25. They're not way far off. But one of these has got to update pretty soon to kind of get in sync with each other. All right. So anyway, Palantir, decent day, but overall for our portfolio, really looking good. Walmart, yesterday we added short options to Walmart on both sides of the trade. We added a short call at the 99 strike price and a short put at the 96 strike price. Well, our 99 strike price short call has moved in the money now by almost 85 cents. At one point in time today, I think it was more than $1 in the money. I am of the opinion, and I'm going to hold off on making an adjustment to Walmart, but I really need everybody who can to be watching their email and watching Discord tomorrow morning. I am suspect of Walmart and think maybe they slide a little bit tomorrow. I think they're going to kind of get held in this range right here for another few trading days, maybe another week or so. If the rest of the market is struggling tomorrow, don't expect Walmart to have the ability to break that trend on its own. If everything else is struggling tomorrow, I think you'll see Walmart down a little bit with everything else. So I'm going to hold off right now on making an adjustment to Walmart. If it is above 99 at the close tomorrow, we will roll the 99 strike short call out 1 week, get it up to 100, maybe get up to 101, 102, and just get it out of the money so that there's not an issue there. Otherwise, that trade is still looking good. I'm still pleased with where it's at. We've got CrowdStrike reporting later this week. I think that's all we've got going on with spread trades right now. Color trades are all looking good. Nothing needs to be changed on any of our color trades right now. Our triple play trades, the only negative thing that happened from the perspective of my personal portfolio today, your portfolio, if you're following me on these triple play trades, is that in spite of Nvidia having a great day and moving into the plus column, Dell had a great day, which moved us very much into the negative column. And Marvell, we're going to have to make adjustments to both of these. But again, here's the one thing about Dell that is going to keep me from making an adjustment to this today. Dell had a strong move to the upside, much more than I would have expected, but on a very moderate, I would say, weak volume day compared to the volume that brought Dell down following its earnings report. I think today's going to be a one-off, and I think Dell is going to move back down in the next couple of days, and I think we're going to end up okay on this trade. So I'm going to hold off on sending an adjustment on Dell. I am probably going to send an adjustment today for tomorrow morning's open on Marvell. Marvell, unfortunately, look at this chart on Marvell. This is the worst thing, in my opinion. This is the worst thing that can happen to a company following an earnings report. Look at that 5 and 20-day moving average, how they are almost running on the same line. You can barely, on your screen, it might be smaller than what you've got on my screen, but you can barely tell a difference in those two lines. They're running so parallel to each other. Look at the MACD. The line is literally, the two lines on the MACD chart are on top of each other. It is literally one line right there, not two lines. And the RSI it's up here. It says 51.43. It's barely on the plus side, but it's just right there at that midpoint line. Following an earnings report, when you're hoping for a big move up or down and you kind of don't care which direction, this is the worst thing that can happen. So I will send an adjustment tonight for Marvell to execute and put on tomorrow morning, and then we'll be okay. I really think Nvidia looks great. I think Nvidia will be profitable before this week is over, and I'm really believe Dell. I think today's move up was kind of a one-off, and they're going to slide back down. So I'm not too worried about that trade right now. I mean, I don't like what it did today. It went from being a profitable trade to being negative, but I'm not overly worried about it because I think it's going to come back the other way. So all in all, I think we're looking really good. It's been, we're at a phenomenal spot to be early in the month of June and to be at 145% to the upside in our portfolio is absolutely phenomenal. That might be this. We might be on pace now. We'll see what the second half of the year brings. We might be on pace to have our best year ever in terms of our returns on our spread trades. And our triple play trades are not far off the pace, especially if we can turn around Marvell and Dell and get those both into the plus column or back to break even. Then all of a sudden we're up probably 100% or more on our triple play trades as well. So all in all, looking fantastic. I love where we're at. I will be on live tomorrow morning. It'll be 8 o'clock my time, which is Mountain Time. That's 10 o'clock Eastern Time to do the live podcast. But that brings you up to date for today. And for those of you that can join us live, we'll see you here tomorrow morning. Thanks.